A 50-year-old man named Larry Sperling of Nebraska allegedly attacked his wife with a sandwich. It all began when Larry drank 3 24-ounce cans of Natty Daddy and started arguing with his wife. The woman, tired of arguing, made herself a sandwich and went to her bedroom. Larry followed his wife, pushed her onto the bed, and proceeded to assault her with the sandwich. While court documents don't detail the exact ingredients of the sandwich, one of the deputies reportedly found several pieces of lunch meat littered on the floor. I thought about this poor woman when I, too, was assaulted with food. For a couple of years, I lived in Denver, Colorado. One night, I went out with some coworkers to eat at an infamous restaurant called Casa Bonita. It advertises itself as the greatest show in Denver, offering mouth-watering Mexican food. I should have known then, as I do now, that anything that claims to be mouth-watering is probably illegal, or probably not approved by the FDA. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. For starters, Casa Bonita is located in a cheap strip mall. It's hard to miss the place. It's a giant pink castle. Once you enter, you're immediately hit with an overwhelming smell of chlorine. Before you can be seated, you must order your food. And within seconds of ordering, it's somehow magically ready. I imagine different valves like soda fountains that spit out your food instantly. Goop seems like the right word for it. Once you have your goop, you can enter the main area. And this place has it all. A 30-foot waterfall, pirates, wild gorillas, caves, mines, gunfights, sword fights, and my favorite, cliff divers. I couldn't help but think, how did someone come up with this? How did someone pitch an idea like Casa Bonita to potential investors? I imagine the conversation started with something like this. So I have this idea for a restaurant. Man takes bong hit. It's sort of like Taco Bell meets Disney World. On acid. Shortly after finishing my meal, I was convinced I had food poisoning. I sat there nauseous, and before I knew it, I started thinking about all the food I used to eat as a kid. I grew up in Texas. I'd always look forward to the nights when my mother would cook carne guisada or enchiladas. However, I always dreaded the nights when she cooked fideo, a Mexican type of pasta that has about as much flavor as a pair of dirty socks. If you really dislike someone and want them to know it, invite them over for dinner and serve them huge amounts of fideo. One night, while my mother was cooking dinner, we got into an argument. I was in high school at the time, a period marked by regular shouting matches. On this particular night, though, we really went at it. I don't remember what prompted the argument, but after a while, we were really yelling at one another. And then, without really thinking, I grabbed a fistful of raw ground beef and threw it at my mother. Everything was still. I recognized the look of betrayal in my mother's eyes, a look that said, "Did you just throw raw meat at me?" She stormed out of the house and sat inside her car. We didn't talk for 2 days. I'm pretty sure she cooked fideo for a week straight just to teach me a lesson. Psst. Hey, my coworker whispered to me. The sword fight is about to begin. It was then, as I watched a sword fight between a pirate and a gorilla, that I thought about Larry, the man who assaulted his wife with a sandwich. I wondered if, like me, Larry apologized endlessly, bought flowers, and begged for forgiveness. I wondered if, like me, Larry was filled with shame. Ultimately, my mother and I made up. And after that, whenever she cooked fideo, I tried not only to accept it, but to do so graciously. Besides, after everything is said and done, I would eat all the fideo in the world just to make her smile.